Egg quality is so important. So many of you have questions about egg quality and PCOS. Does it impact it? And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today in this video. I'm actually going to give you my 5 tips, my 5 steps to improve egg quality when you have PCOS. I also want to ask you all what your biggest concern is regarding PCOS. So if you have PCOS, what's your biggest concern? I want to hear from you. I want you to comment below in the comment section because I want to compile all of those questions, all those concerns, and see if I missed anything, and then create another video to make sure that I encompass all of that in there for you. I want to make sure that all your questions about PCOS are answered. So comment below with those so that I can support you and answer those in the next video. But until we get to your comments and questions regarding PCOS, in this video, we're going to talk about egg quality in PCOS. And one of the good things is that it is manageable. You can address it and improve it with the right plan, the right steps, and the right determination on your part. And that's why, again, I'm going to talk about the 5 steps you need to take to improve your egg quality when you have PCOS in this video. So I want you to keep watching to learn more. Before I jump into this topic, I do want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this week's video, the Fertile Mind app. If you haven't already checked it out, I have mentioned it in previous videos. I want you to do so. The feedback has been amazing. Stress when it comes to fertility has been such a major issue, especially with those women with PCOS. So I want to invite you to check out this free trial. It's a 30-day trial of the Fertile Mind app just by using the link in the description below. So step number 1 is all about diet and lifestyle. I know you've heard me talk about this before, but I cannot leave it out. And it's step number 1 because it is the most important thing. It is the foundational thing that you need to do to improve and manage your PCOS. I don't think that's the case with other fertility or reproductive related issues, but PCOS absolutely 100%. That first foundational thing that needs to be done is diet and lifestyle. And one of the questions I've been getting frequently in the last month as we've been talking about this is, what can I do? How can I support myself? How can I manage my PCOS and my hormones? Right here, this is the first thing you need to be doing, is improving and managing your diet and lifestyle. So what exactly do I mean by that? First and foremost, when it comes to diet, you need to have a much lower carb intake. I spoke to a woman yesterday. She has PCOS, and when I looked at her diet, she had tons of carbs, bread, pasta, sandwiches, sugar. She even asked the question, so sugar's a no-no, and she said, I have a lot of sugar cravings. Is that a problem? And the sugar cravings aren't a problem, controlling them is, right? And the reason we have that is because we haven't managed our blood sugar and managed our carb intake. So we need to do that. I want you to have whole foods, whole grains, right? I want you to have your grains if you're gonna have them, except for wheat, okay? You can have some rice, not a ton when it comes to grains, but I want you to focus on fat, protein, and vegetables. That's really where your diet needs to be focused on when we're talking about improving our diet and lowering our carb intake. It will be hard to curb our sugar cravings, but that will happen over time. I believe that it will. And on top of it, once we start to get in and balance your hormones, that will settle down. Okay, so those are some just simple tips, but if you're not doing them and doing them consistently, you need to now. Number 2, when it comes to this topic, is lifestyle changes. What do I mean by that? Specifically, exercise. Most of you with a classical presentation of PCOS are not exercising enough. I don't mean that it needs to be difficult or heavy in weights. I just need you walking for 45 to 60 minutes every day. That's what my goal would be for you. Okay, not hard. You're not going for a crazy hike. You're just going for a nice walk with a purpose. And if you have an atypical presentation and you're thinner, I don't want you doing too much. I actually spoke to another woman earlier, I think it was about 2 or 3 days ago, and she has an atypical form of PCOS, and she is an avid exercise person, or like her job is actually to spin. She's a spin instructor. Right? So we want to let go of that. We have to actually reduce that extreme exercise, lower it in frequency and intensity. So those are my 2 main tips in my first step to controlling your PCOS and improving your egg quality. Okay, step number 2, regulate your hormones. This sounds easier than it actually is. So it's very common with PCOS that your hormones are going to be a little bit out of balance. And for each one of you, those hormones might be a little bit different, but a theme and a trend that is often consistent across the board when we look at all types of women with PCOS is that we see an irregularity with your FSH levels and your estradiol or E2. Okay, we typically see those be too high. We want to lower those and regulate those hormones. That is going to be really, really important to number 1, regulating your cycle and having a consistent ovulation, whatever that would be. And number 2, to improving egg quality. This video is about improving egg quality, and FSH and estradiol are 2 key hormones when it comes to egg quality. The higher those numbers go up, the more impacted your egg quality is. So we want to decrease those numbers, not extreme, like, there are normal ranges that we need to manage when we're talking about especially estradiol, but we do need to regulate those. So often we see those higher, and we want to see that sweet spot for estrogen be somewhere between 30 and 60. It can go as high as like 75 or 80, but we don't really want it below 20, okay? But that sweet spot is right in the middle. And FSH we'd like to see between 5 and 10. Together, those two would be balanced, will show that you've improved your egg quality and regulated your hormones. So then hopefully what we're seeing when that happens is that you have a regular and consistent predictable cycle and ovulation, which will make it much easier to conceive. And on top of that, your egg quality will be improved as well, which will make it better when we do create that embryo. So this is a key factor. Now, I know the question that's going to be asked when I'm talking about this, well, what can I do to improve my hormones? Well, the first thing you need to do is get those hormones tested. You often hear me say it, test, don't guess. So step number 1 about this process is getting tested and understanding what your hormones actually look like. And then from there, you can get the right guidance to support you and regulate those hormones. I don't have specific recommendations today about those because each one of you is going to have a different pattern that presents itself, right? This is where coaching really comes in, and really getting personalized guidance for each one of you is so valuable and important, because without that, we often find that you don't quite go down the right road or make the right decisions with your hormones to get the results that you deserve. All right, step number 3, manage your stress. Everyone always says, oh, you're too stressed, just relax and you'll get pregnant. I hate hearing that, but there is a reason why they say it. Because stress absolutely impacts your hormones, impacts your fertility, impacts your egg quality, and for sure impacts your PCOS. And this I see in about 80% of the women that I work with. This actually brings me back to a story of a woman who I helped conceive, and actually she didn't ever come to see me in the beginning to conceive. She just wanted to regulate her PCOS and her hormones so she would have a regular cycle and feel better, which I love to hear. Her number 1 variable was stress. And we would get her cycle regular, and then every 4 months, 5 months, 6 months down the road, something would change at work or in her personal life. She'd become more stressed and her cycles would become irregular. And invariably, she would reach out to me and say, well, what do you think's going on today? And my first question back to her was, what changed? What has caused you to have more stress? And she goes, actually, you're correct. Work has been really stressful recently, and that's been difficult for me to manage. And I said, okay, well, now you need to do more for yourself to manage your stress. So this is such a big piece to the puzzle. And again, I see this in about 80% of all women with PCOS, because your adrenal function impacts your endocrine system. Another way to say that is your stress hormones impact your reproductive hormones, okay, and will cause your ovulation to be irregular. I want to keep it simple because I want you to hear that and digest it and recognize that. Now, what do you do about it? Well, in the beginning of this video, I did share that the sponsor of this video is the Fertile Mind app. So that is step number 1 that I do recommend right now for everybody. Why? Because the feedback has really, really been tremendous. All the women in my Hope Coaching program get this app and this program as part of the Hope Coaching program. And when they do it, and their feedback to me has been tremendous. They really love the guidance, the meditation, the mindfulness that it's being taught to them. And they're really incorporating it. And that's the key, is incorporating it into your day on a regular basis so that you can start to regulate your stress response and your adrenal response to control your stress levels. Now, that's not the only thing you can do. There's a lot of other things like getting outside, getting in nature, going for a walk along the beach, going for a hike, whatever you need to do for yourself that's going to allow your body to regulate and de-stress, I want you to do. But that's not sitting in front of the TV and zoning out. That's doing something proactive, okay? So step number 3 is manage your stress. Step number 4 is managing and supporting your femininity and creativity. This sounds or may sound odd to many of you, but because PCOS increases our androgen levels, hence testosterone, okay, or DHEA, we have a tendency to be more masculine in nature and not be in touch with our femininity. I want you to spend a little time getting more in touch with your femininity and creativity, okay? That is super valuable. We need to incorporate that more into our life and into our routine. So that's going to be different for each one of you. I think the first thing that I would recommend when it comes to this is journaling. Journaling helps you express yourself, get your emotions out, and you can also be creative in that nature. The other thing that you can do with journaling is recognize what is off and how, or come up with solutions or ideas of what you can do to start to connect with those things a little bit more. Maybe it's playing music. Maybe it's actually learning music or playing music physically versus just playing music audio and listening, although that's fine as well. Maybe it's being creative in a different way. Maybe it's writing or doing art. Whatever that might be for you, I want you all to become more in tune and more connected with that. This will help your stress levels, help your creativity as well, and just help you become more in tune with your body, which is a key piece to the whole puzzle of improving egg quality. And step number 5, be accountable to yourself. This is hard. This is potentially a long journey, and this is not an overnight fix. Even if you do get things relatively quickly, just like some of the stories I've shared previously, it can go south real quick if you don't manage these things ongoingly. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect all the time, but it does mean that in general, overall, you want to be striving to do most of these recommendations on a regular basis to help keep things balanced. If we have any goal and hope of managing our PCOS long-term, regulating our hormones, improving our egg quality, these changes need to be consistent. And that's not easy because it takes patience. It takes a lot of consistency and determination on your part. The most important thing and one of the most valuable pieces to being consistent and being able to see this work for you over long term is getting the support and coaching that you need and deserve. Those women who get the coaching, get the mentorship, and get the support to lean on someone when things go south always make the changes faster and get things back to normal and balance as quickly as possible. So I can't stress this piece enough. We all need guidance and support. You need it as well. And I want to encourage you to find that support. If you want coaching and support and guidance from me and my team, then I do want to invite you to join my Hope Coaching Program. This is where I personally support you on your fertility journey, that I get my eyes on your case and help you create a personalized plan to get you the results that you need and deserve. This is not for everyone, but if it is for you, then I want to invite you to apply by using the link in the description below. If you are looking for additional resources to help you on your fertility journey, managing your PCOS and improving your egg quality, then I have created a free fertility guide that I think is wonderful. The feedback has been great, and I think you're going to find it really useful. All you have to do to download that and start to utilize the tips and tools and resources that I include in there is use the link in the description below. If you liked this video, then give it a thumbs up. If you have questions about PCOS, egg quality, or your fertility needs, then just leave a comment below. I will get back to you as soon as I can. And if you're not already a subscriber to my YouTube channel, then hit that bell to subscribe and get notified when I put out a new video for all of you. And until the next video, stay fertile.